And just like that, we here. Voila.
Yeah.
Voila. Another episode, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We already 7 up strong and going. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Conversations That Matter. I'm your main man, William Hussey 365.
Gene Blackman.
I'm Dominique Davis.
That's right. My brother here today.
Yes,
My
sir.
brother
Yes,
here
sir.
today. You
Yes,
feeling
sir.
better?
Yes, sir.
Give it up
Yes,
for him,
sir.
baby. Give it up for him.
Yeah.
You feeling
I
great?
feel great.
You was down and out for a minute.
Yeah, shout out to Mama's good genes.
That's
good.
right. That's right. That's right. It's a pleasure to have you, my brother.
Pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of the
My
team.
pleasure, man.
Already. So let's get right into it. Thank you to the audience. We have a live audience, y'all. Give it up for yourselves. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. We got to get the energy right, man. That's right. That's right. Get that energy right. Get the vibe right. You feel me?
I see we have more men this week.
Yeah,
man.
we got more brothers in the building.
We needed some help last week. We needed some help last week.
Definitely appreciate y'all, man. Y'all representing. Shout out to all the bros in the building. Shout out to all the queens in the building. We definitely appreciate everybody for coming out. And thank y'all for tuning in. Everybody that's viewing this, everybody that's watching, thank you for tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So today on episode 2 of Conversations That Matter is Gene Blackman.
Conversations that matter with your kids.
With your kids. With your kids. With your kids. With your kids.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to start it off by, because it was a viral situation going on with a situation at an apartment complex in Greensboro, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody heard about it, but it was a unfortunate situation, but it was publicly spoken about and it's public information, and a situation happened. And I felt like the situation was wrong, but I want to hear from the people because I don't know in detail exactly what happened. And we just going to touch on this for a few minutes just to share some light on it, because it goes with the theme of tonight and the topic of the night, because we want our children to be prepared if they're in that situation or if they face with that situation. So it's a good way. I feel like it's a good standpoint to start from. We're not gonna get into the family and the people involved. We're just gonna talk about the situation itself. So for me, I don't know what happened beforehand, but I did see the issue itself that happened once the lady did what she did, and I was just thinking to myself, what if that was my child? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What would I do? You know what I'm saying? First of all, I feel like it would have been anger. Anger would have been one. I would have been emotional about it. But as far as the choices or decisions I would have made, knowing that lady was a supervisor or manager of the property, so I have to deal with her. I'm just not at the house right now, whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? And I see that. You know what I'm saying? The first thing I'm going to react to is anger, probably. You know what I'm saying? But of course, you don't want to go put your hands on somebody and catch a charge and things of that nature. So let's talk about it. What would you do? And I'll kick it off with you, Gene. Take your time, brother.
Now, if someone had come to me or my kids had come to me and said, this happened. So just to give a little background, because I don't know if everyone knows what happened, but there was an property manager who poured a drink over a kid and then slapped the kid.
Right.
So if it was mentioned to me to my kids, of course I'm going down there, probably tearing the place up, to be honest. But after seeing the video, man, a whole nother feeling came upon me, to be honest. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't know what I would do, but I know that I would feel like there would need to be some type of justice.
Yeah.
And what that looks like,
right.
I'm not sure.
Right.
Depends on if I have somebody talking to me while I'm on my way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but it was crazy, like, to see that woman pour a drink over that child and then slap the child.
How old was the child?
How old was the child? 11?
11.
Okay, 11.
11.
Yeah, 11 years old. So how you
Yeah.
feel about it, Dominique? 11 and 9. It was 2 of them. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get into it.
I ain't gonna play. I can't be politically correct on this one. I'm going in.
Right. Hands down.
I'm going in hands down, and I'll suffer the consequences later. I preach that take 10 seconds, breathe, whatever.
Right.
But when it comes to your kids, all that conscious stuff that you have just goes out the window. So especially if we was on the scene at the act of the situation. So
yeah, for sure.
So that's self-explanatory. I'm going in.
Right. Me too. That's what I would say. I say first thing I'm going with is anger. I'm gonna be emotionally stressed. I'm gonna do something. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I make the right choice or not, something's gonna happen because it's just a reaction. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning how to respond. But at first, with your child, the first thing is reaction. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm raising hell at that office or whatever. So we got some people out of the audience that are gonna want to shed some light on the situation too. They might have more information as well. If you want to give your name, give your name. If not, roll into what you want to speak about. Thank you as well. Either one, ladies first. That's right. Give it up for y'all. Give it up. Most definitely.
Good afternoon. I'm Ingram Bell.
Ingram Bell in the building. Family. Let's talk that talk. Let's talk about it.
So for me, it's been real hard.
Right.
To deal with this situation. Considering I'm looking at a 9-year-old little girl and an 11-year-old baby boy.
Oh, it was a girl involved
so
too.
That is where it started.
Oh wow.
So she was allegedly pulling the little girl by the hair to get her out of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
The brother reacted, whatever, said something to the lady.
Mm-hmm.
Once they got out of the pool to get ready to leave, that is when you can see her walking around the little girl and Jace and throwing the soda on him and punching him. What is it, 4 times? Yeah.
4 times?
It's 4 times.
Wow.
And so the mother hasn't really had any sleep. The father hasn't had any sleep.
I'm sure.
And so as a community, we all band together. We did a protest on Friday.
Oh wow! Give it up for that, y'all. Give it up for that. That's what's up. Y'all always putting that work in. I swear, man.
So this young baby is small and frail, and you got this big woman who is hitting on your child, and so it's hard trying to keep the community calm, keep the youth that are out there, because this isn't the first time that she's done this to these youth.
Oh wow!
There is countless occasions where we keep hearing she does this to the youth that come to the pool.
Oh, it's an ongoing
This
thing.
is an ongoing thing.
Right.
She actually has a couple of cases in court now for fair housing, right? So, but she spent the story where she's the victim now. But if the news do they research, you'll see that there are court cases about her being a racist, clearly. So that's an issue for me too. So racism and violence is a no-no for me.
Right.
And I don't know how that mama kept her composure, because I know me.
Right. I know you. Right. For sure.
it wouldn't have been that easy.
Right.
So I salute the mama and the daddy because they done held it together. But I believe
that's good.
I'm like y'all. I'd have done something.
Right. Thank you. Give it up for y'all for a comment. Thank you. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, peace and love. I'm Activist Pressure.
Activist Pressure in the building. Give it up for him, y'all.
All right. First, I'll start off with just continue to keep this family in our prayers and this community.
Yes.
Echoing what Queen Ingram just said, I don't know what I would have done. I can't say. I could say I would have responded in violence. I could say I would have walked away and let a system to do their job.
Right.
But as we see now, the system, the media is trying to twist this story now and put her as the victim. He threw a bottle at her. She was fearing for her life. And I don't know if y'all seen the last video that News 2 put out that somebody vandalized the property. So all these things the media is trying to do now to protect this woman, but they're doing nothing to protect the
true victims,
these two adolescents, and his family. So right there, F me allowing the system to do that. I'm gonna be respectful in y'all house. I don't know profanity, but F me allowing the system to do it. I would handle matters in my own hand because waiting on the system to do something, they ain't gonna do it.
Right.
Come to my mind two things: Emmett Till, New York 5. When I think about this situation, Emmett Till, New York 5. And here Fred Cox, Marcus Smith. I can go on and on the names of racism that's been injustice in our system, but we haven't got any justice.
Right.
So why do we wait on them to do their job and they ain't gonna do nothing? So all I'm saying about it, man, we need the community to step up and speak out about this. This family needs us. This community over there is traumatized of this lady.
Right.
She has a lot of them scared that if they they'll lose their place. They ain't got nowhere else to go. So it's a list of things.
Okay.
So, and she still has a job. Right. If it had been shoe on the other foot, these kids probably be locked up right now and have worse charges. So,
okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you for the information as well, because y'all have more insight on it, because I know y'all been involved with the family.
We still learning together. All right. So speaking of that, I'd like to know what type of conversation would you have with your kids when you're leaving them or you're sending them somewhere unattended?
Right.
What type of conversation do you have with your kid? You're sending them to the pool to go swimming. You getting ready to go to work.
Right.
Like what conversation are you having with your kids?
First of all, if y'all came together, y'all gonna leave together.
Yeah. If it's more than one. Yeah.
Okay.
Stay away from strangers. If somebody hit your sister, you better tear their ass up. Excuse my language. Come on, sir. So right. I mean, that's from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right.
No, for sure. I would say the conversations I would have is just, if it's an ongoing situation, just say it never happened. Just say it never happened, and they just going to the pool, and you ain't even aware of a woman like that or a person like that that has involved or been involved in those situations before. You just moved in the apartment, so they just going to the pool. First things first, I would teach them first to be responsible for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And like Dominique say, one go one place, y'all go together. One swing, y'all all swing. Whatever it is, y'all do it together. Secondhand, if that situation did occur, I want them to be able to defend themselves in a way that's, I would say, respectable in the public. Because if they just go hell off and just swing on her and just do some stuff, it's only gonna get worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you train them to defend themselves, most definitely. But at the same time, this is a grown woman. You know what I mean? This is a supervisor, a manager of the apartments. So in their mind, they might know that already. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't know how her actions is, they just know her position. At first, they're gonna try to respect her. They're gonna respect her position first. But if it comes off on them awkwardly, then it's like, you got to be able to stand your ground to some extent. You know what I'm saying? So I know my kids, they gonna pop off. They gonna talk. They gonna defend themselves. They gonna do whatever. But the conversation that I would have with them is just, it's hard for that. It's just, you got to just be prepared.
But just like forget that scenario.
Yeah.
Just
in
whenever
general.
you're sending your kids out into the world and you know that you're not going to be there with them, what conversations do you have?
Oh, just in general, besides
Absolutely.
the situation.
Just
in general, just keep it safe. Be safe. Be mindful of your surroundings. Like I said, if it's multiple of them, then y'all stay together. And be ready. Like, you got to be ready at all times, man. You got to be ready, because ain't no telling what could come your way in this life. You know, life come fast. You know what I'm saying? And life come out the blue. So first of all, just take care of yourself and be responsible of yourself. Defend yourself, most definitely. At all times, defend yourself.
And come and get me. Come and get your
Of
parents.
course, they're gonna have
Absolutely.
to.
Come and get your parents. You know, if it's something too big for you guys, because kids gonna be kids. But anytime adult is involved, you come and get your parents, and we'll.
Nah, but if you dropping them off somewhere and you ain't around, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mentally or physically, how are they prepared to deal with situations? That's why it's tricky. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that goes to say, you know, we came together, lead together, one fight, we all fight.
Yeah.
But after you get yourself out of harm's way, after defending yourself, immediately after you call the authorities, but they're gonna think about mom and daddy first, whatever you poured into them. So basically you just drill that in them.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm gonna call mom, I'm gonna call daddy.
Yeah. First thing is the phone call.
But that's it right there. It's about the conversations that you have on a regular basis.
When it happens,
where
they
you're
already
creating
know.
a culture for your kids to know what to do whenever you're not around or they're out on their own. Yeah, so it's the regular conversations for me. Like,
Go ahead with your comments.
All right, so we have Malik. Good vibes. The system.
Malik, what up?
What up?
Malik says the system ain't never been for Black people. Let's just keep it 100.
Say it again.
The system has not ever been for Black people, so let's just keep it 100.
Okay.
We have T Nice Rose. She says the manager lady some issues and she needs to go back to jail. We got Demaya. She is not the victim. She is wrong and justice needs to be served. The legal or the street way. This broke my heart. I have children, those kids' age. The system continues to fail us. Every time we need to come together as a community and put an end to racism.
Right.
Then you have Demaya. They fail us every time. Speaking back to Malik. T Nice. There is no reason why she should still have her job. That's not cool at all. Malik, they definitely do. The system was put in place to be against us. Malik, we have to be watered down to get stuff done.
Right.
It's always a waiting game and a game to provoke us. Demaya, no matter what, there is nothing to justify this woman's actions. You don't put your hands on my kids. The story has me in the uproar.
Facts.
My kids are all I have. I would die behind them.
Right.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you for the comments. Y'all keep them rolling in, and thank y'all for engaging in the conversation.
Appreciate it.
At this point, I want to welcome in our show therapist. Y'all seen him last week, and we're gonna bring him in this week. He's actually part of the team now, so give it up for Dante Donnell, y'all.
Yeah.
Big say.
Thank you.
That's good.
You know, I've been itching to come and get to the mic.
For sure. But I want you to
yeah.
shed some light on the topic itself, because dealing with kids in general, with therapy and mental health, I want you to shine some light on what you discuss with families that come in for therapy or children that come in for one-on-one on topics like this.
Man, you know, it's hard for me to differentiate when it's talking about kids and put myself in that position. I'm a human first, so if I give you my parental avenue in the midst of my therapeutic approach, please forgive me for that. Can I speak on how I would put the therapist hat on first?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Definitely. I'm riding with everybody else. I definitely would respond off impulse. Impulse for me would probably be immediately making an example so that the next property manager would think wouldn't even have to think one time about how to knock on my door to let me know that my children were doing whatever they were doing. But from my understanding of the situation, it's no justification. It shouldn't be looked at any other context from what we saw with this woman putting her hand on the child. Regardless of what happened before, what she did was the crime, in my opinion. And that needs to be the light shined on the situation more than anything. But for our conversation, I feel an important point that we should have with our children, especially, is understanding that you should not be an aggressor in any form, making sure that they recognize what it means to instigate, what it means to agitate any situation. And not saying that these kids did it, but that's a principle that I try to teach my children and teach even in therapy, understanding what it means between sibling rivalry, just instigating a situation, and how that can transform beyond just the household to a community situation. Also, like Brother Dominique said, letting me fight, making sure that the parent, allowing the parent to fight the fight, is probably going to send a stronger message than superior complex manager over a child. Letting that parent immediately exit in whatever situation and notifying the parent so the parent can fight the fight.
Right, most definitely.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. So let's change the trajectory because, you know, we wanted to shine light on that situation. Of course, anybody else got any more comments on that particular? Come on up. Thank you. Give it up for her, y'all.
Miss Tammy, what's going on, baby?
State your name and then roll into your comment for the people. Come up a little bit closer. Yeah.
My name is Tammy Johnson.
Tammy, what's up?
I'm a little too close to the situation, but I'm just gonna say,
Come on, a little closer to
aside from the fact that she assaulted the child, can we discuss that this is an adult demeaning a child?
Right, the soda and all that. Yeah.
Him, you demeaned him, and two adult males stood by and acted as if it was okay.
See, we didn't know that part.
So we need to need to discuss, not only is it not okay that she demeaned these children, but that two adults stood by and thought it was okay. Because you all are at fault as well, standing beside this woman, because yes, she is a habitual racist. Like, we all know that. But you two stood by and allowed that. So aside from you hitting this child, you demeaned him, belittled him, and in front of his sister.
Right.
There's enough of demeaning as adults, but this is a child. You're allowing them to feel like this is how it's supposed to be. I'm just gonna stand here.
Yeah.
My adult children know, call my mom, I'm gonna get in your ass.
Right,
That's
right,
what they do.
That's what's gonna be my question. If you had children that age, what's the type of conversations that need to be had at home? Because this is a great example for all of us. Even though we all say we'll lose it, you know, we all be upset and mad, but what's the conversation should we have with our children before they're in this type of situation? So let's shine some light on that as well. Go ahead.
Like him saying, don't be the aggressor, but my daddy raised me, don't start no shit, but don't take no shit.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
that's how I raised my kids.
Gotcha.
So that conversation is already had. My adult children from 26 to 9, no, call my mama.
Right, of
And
course.
I'm coming.
Right. Got you. Thank you. Give it up for y'all. Go ahead, Corey.
Well, first and foremost, many prayers and thoughts in regards to that family.
Most definitely.
Many blessings to our activists who are getting
That's right.
in the fight, boots on the ground, trying to bring about justice to this
Most
particular
definitely.
situation.
Yes.
So I know I ain't got long, so I'll just keep it short. My encouragement to all of our students who are studying, pre-law in our institutions of higher learning, this is why we need you. So I just want to continue to encourage our students that's in that fabric to keep going, because we need you to be in those courtrooms. We need those students to subsequently to get on those city council seats, et cetera, et cetera. So keep it going. As far as those pre-talks, those conversations that matters. So I have a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Right.
So my 9-year-old, he clearly understands a little bit better. So I talked to my 9-year-old, Corey Jr. on two fronts. I talked to him about gang violence, dealing with your own people. And then I talked to him about the social injustice paradigm. Okay. So I always let him know you got to recognize the signs. So we always talk about the fabric of conflict resolution. If the tension is getting too high, whether you with your own black and brown people, and these boys, they in these gangs, and they, you feel like the music getting turned up a little too high, and they knucking if you bucking, if you will, you know what I'm saying? You gotta leave, you gotta de-escalate by leaving the situation. And as far as the social injustice paradigm, you got to recognize the signs of racial tension. So as Dominique stated, if you see that before it even gets that far, if they're raising their voice a certain way, if they're speaking a certain way, if they're giving a racial undertone, you got to teach your children this early,
Mhm.
even before they get to middle school. Teach them that because it's not too early because they already trying to take away the dynamic of Black history already as it is right now.
Right,
So we got to teach them these things early so they can recognize the signs. And as aforementioned, what Dominique said, if you see these undertones starting to come to fruition, then you call us, let us know. We'll get you up out of there. And last but not least, before it even gets to that conversation, we as adults got to recognize where they're going. Because I know when I was coming up, my mama used to ask that, who your mama? What's your grandmama name? What's your granddaddy name? Where your family come from?
That's right.
So that's all I want to say about that.
Give it up for Corey McCann, y'all. Give it up for Corey. Most definitely.
All right, so we have Wendy Armstrong.
Wendy, not your family. What's up, Wendy?
She said, that's a child. How could she be a victim? Her life wasn't in danger. She
Right.
followed up also and said she used her authority of being an adult to intimidate this young male while making a decision to throw a drink in his face and proceed to assault him. How could she be the victim? I'm lost in concern. Marilyn Worthy, where are you going? Who will be there? And what will you be doing?
Right. Those are the questions that she's saying. That's the questions that she would ask.
Right.
Yeah.
And Wendy is stating that most kids have cell phones. They can call their parents in a situation
Right.
like that.
Most definitely.
So Marilyn follows up and says she definitely needs to be charged and never put your hands on nobody, especially not a child.
Right. Because what's right is right. What's wrong is wrong.
Thanks for your comments.
Yeah. I want people to understand we just realized that we have two different lives. So on one, the comments we wasn't receiving, so we apologize for that. And those are the ones that she just read. So we got everybody on track now. So we seeing all comments. Mel, if you see that, can you just add from the other one and just post them up too? I'm not sure if you can do that. But real quick, I just wanted to say that. So anyway, like you were saying, Gene, what's some other conversations that need to be had with children before they leave the household? Let's get into it. I mean, because these days you never know where your kid's going when they leave the house, right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy. And Dominique, I want to pass this to you on this where I'm going with it. But before we even get to there, I'm just saying in general, because kids are sneaky, man. Kids are sneaky. Like, of course, in that situation, they wasn't at fault or nothing, but they had the benefit of the doubt in that. But let's talk about when the kids go left a little bit, when they hiding something. You know what I'm saying? When they tell you one thing, but they doing another. So, in all honesty, it's we only go off what children tell us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times they might feel like we won't approve of what they want to do or where they want to go. So they might say certain things to get out the house. And I had a situation like that recently. But like I explained to my child is, you're my responsibility. So just be straight up with me. If you got to hide to go somewhere, then you don't need to be going there in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Or if you got to hide something that you're doing, you don't need to be doing it in the first place. So let's go there a little bit because, kids are tricky.
All kids rebel,
Right.
The hardest thing, the most hurtful thing is when you pour into your child and then you see them rebel as the older they're getting. Curiosity killed the cat. You got puberty coming and, they feel like they can do what they want. Now, at times, you'll get in some trouble and then you'll hear what mom and daddy said. It'll come back to you when it's too late. A lot of times it is too late.
Right.
We pour into the kids, we plant the seeds. They will grow, but that's why we got to stay prayed up and, ask God to cover them, but as a child, as a young adult, they're going to feel as if, I'm going to do what I want to do. They're always good in your face, but when they leave, parenting doesn't come when they're in your presence. Your parenting is being tested when they're away from you.
Oh, yeah,
That's
most
when
definitely.
Parenting is being tested.
Right. That 3 a.m. when you walk in that flow.
That's
you
when
know what I'm saying?
parenting is being
That's when your
tested.
parenting being tested. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Jim.
For me, I like to
Matter of fact, he in the building.
Oh yeah, my son is here. Maybe he'll bless us and give a comment or two later.
Yeah, because we want to hear from the kids as well.
But for me, I like to be proactive and have certain conversations while they're young and just kind of instill a constant conversation about certain things as they get older.
Right.
One is what respect look like. Who are their authority figures? Sex, where is inappropriate for anyone to touch you, and what you're supposed to do if those things happen.
Right.
Like my man Corey said, I definitely try to talk to my son about gangs, the origin of it, and what's really happening out here. Just really the streets in general,
right?
The street culture in general. I try to talk to my son about it, and spirituality. I also try to have a conversation about finances with my son. I think that
most definitely.
the things that I have learned, or the things that took me 40 years to learn, I try to pump it into him as early as possible.
Most definitely, yeah.
So those are some of the things that I think is essential to discussing.
Oh,
with your
definitely
kids.
essential.
You
summed it up for everybody. I think we was all thinking that, we just didn't know how to say it, but that was it right there. That was it right there.
My question is for William. Do you think that you can be too cool with your kids?
Oh, most definitely. Now it's a breaking point too, because at a young age you kind of fine with being cool with your kids. But I think once they get to 11 and 12 up to the teenage, I think that's a mistake that we all make. You know what I'm saying? And then what's the boundaries if you are? Because you want to be cool with your kid, but you don't want to be too cool. You know what I'm saying? And you got to put your foot down. So I think we do that a lot. But how we handle it is different though. Because if you know your kid trying you, then you got to put your foot down to a certain degree. But some kids might have you wrapped around their finger. And for me, and it's our daughters. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn that too, the hard way, because just being so cool or giving them what they want all the time. And then when you don't give them what they want, or when they can't do what they want to do, like Dominique say, they rebel, they start rebelling. And then they start playing tricks on you, kind of like Bootsy's daughter did him. Where it's like, oh, now everything on social media in the neighborhood with the friends saying, oh, that's the cool stuff now. And I don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I won't give you something or allow you to do something that I don't feel like is right for you to be doing. I feel like they rebel. But that's definitely a mistake. I like Gene said, you have to start that early. You have to start that early in the game. When they're young, you got to put your foot down and you stand on that respect, I feel like. You know what I mean? As they get older, they go through different experiences, think they older and growner, but they don't hold no weight in my household. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put your foot down and definitely play the parent role. Always the parent role before the friend role for me. Go ahead, brother.
I want to say something about it being, how would I put it? Sometimes some of these parents don't know how to talk to their kids. So I know when I was coming up, other adults told us what to do and what not to do.
Mm-hmm. It was a village.
It was a village. It takes a village. That's what I was getting to. It takes a village. So how do we as a village help these communities? Because that's what I'm seeing now when we talk about up the street, Claremont. This parent might not know how to get to their child, reach their child. So how do we as a community do this? Like sometimes these parents probably at work all day. They never see their kid. They're trying to provide for the house. Right. So they ain't able to do that. So how do as a village?
That's hard. This is a mind your business society.
It used to be though.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I grew up on the village.
So we got to get back to that though. That's why we're dealing with these issues in our community.
The question
it's
is
just harder
how
now.
do we get back to that?
We got to get
like
to
what,
the table and have that discussion.
Right.
I hear you, brother.
I feel like that's what
I
you
agree
asking.
with the village. The
village
village saved
works.
my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The village saved my life.
Right. But now it's more so everybody minding their business.
Mind your business. Neighbors don't even speak to each other now. Bro.
No, for sure they don't.
Like, that is crazy to me.
Facts. You speaking facts. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just to piggyback and backtrack a little bit with kids being outside of their parents and how they do. Princess said, me personally, I'm not allowing my 11-year-old and 8-year-old out to go swimming, somewhere without me or their father in today's time.
Right.
Wendy says, as for the individuals that decide to make the decision to watch without any form of conflict prevention, I feel that is showing that there is definitely work that needs to be done in adults' lives, as well as to know what to do in a situation like this.
Right.
And of course, Malik says we got to start having deep conversations with kids.
That's right.
We also have Tasha Cruz.
Tasha, what's up, Tasha?
What's up, Tasha?
She says also safety does not have to have an age limit. If you are an adult at home, you need to at least let someone know your routine or plans for the day, or so that someone is aware of your whereabouts. Marilyn says mom and dad and the village are on the same page. Tasha said, I think we also have to be in tune with their emotional intelligence. And Tasha stated, no one know what motivates your child, or will motivate them, acceptance at the same time, what motivates the peers around them.
Okay.
All right. I have a question. This is for anyone in the audience. Anyone
the
out there
comments,
can
yeah.
kind of chime in. But what is the toughest conversation you felt like you've had to have with your kids? It's the toughest.
I'll go first.
Conversation.
I would say the sex one. The sex
Okay.
one was the hardest.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got daughters, so it's like that was for a father. That's kind of awkward. You know what I mean? But you kind of find your way through it. You just take your time and know the intent, which is for your child to be safe. And abstinent at first, but eventually as they get, depend on the child. Everybody got child different ages. They still our child at 30, 20. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I would just say that was the hardest for me. Nick, what you got?
Well, I got 6 boys, 2 girls. My daughters are 6 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't even thinking about no conversation like that right now with my daughters. But the hardest thing that I've talked to my sons, that I love all my sons the same. Everybody love their kids the same, but everybody have different bonds with their kids. I just lost my son February 18th. So the hardest,
Xavier.
rest in peace, Xavier. The hardest conversation that I've had with my son is death. I mean, it's not no secret that it's a pandemic. It's an epidemic. Black on black crime, especially with the boys. You know what I'm saying? So, and that goes back to being cool with your kids. I'm not my kid's friend. I'm not their brother. Brothers fight.
Right.
I'm the overseer. I would rather for my son to cry that he can't get no candy than to cry because of a toothache.
Right.
Because I know too much candy is going to lead to that pain and agony. So sometimes when you can't go, you can't go.
Right.
He's not going to understand that. You know what I'm saying? So the kids that get love from home, they glorify the kids that are getting neglected, because what they see from a child's eye is daddy, they get to do what they want. No, mom and daddy ain't worried about them.
Right.
But then it's a thin line, because you don't want to shelter your daughter or your son, because once they get out there, they go haywire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
So that would be the toughest. I wouldn't say it was hard or difficult, but listen,
that's one of the toughest.
You're gonna do what I say, and you'll understand later. Because I'm not your friend, I'm your overseer.
Right, most definitely.
Now, fast forwarding, once that seed is planted, you goes from a father to son to a man-to-man conversation.
Right.
From 3 to 14, 16. Okay, when they start developing the adolescence, they'll start understanding what you said then. I'm trying to get you to that age.
Yeah.
Then
most
what
definitely.
you do is what you do.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Let him respond.
Few points. I'm of the school of Dominique. I feel why I encourage parents to treat children fairly and not equally. And when I say that, based on the development, based on the age, you can't treat them equally, because you're not going to allow your 6-year-old to do the same thing as your 18-year-old. And you've had different experiences with that 18-year-old where you're able to say, I did that wrong. Right. I need to go back to the drawing board for my 7-year-old now, that I'm not going to allow them to stay up past 9 o'clock. Because I saw how that panned out with my other child. Conversations that I feel that we should have. Well, one point I wanted to make is a conversation that I feel is probably one of the toughest is having a conversation based on the relationship with family members and why it might not look as tight as what they would like it to be, and having them understand the dynamics, the trauma, the issues that brought me to being where I am with certain family members. And also understanding the conversation of, like I spoke on the first point, why I'm able to trust one in a certain area versus not allowing them to do different things. And I feel that's probably where they have the hardest struggle with understanding between having a son and trusting him to do one thing versus having a daughter who might be a year or two older and not feeling like I'm allowing her to do certain things and trusting my son in certain areas,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. That's a good point. I'm gonna jump back on it, but Travis, go ahead with your comment.
How y'all doing?
What's up?
Travis
What up? What up?
Travis Gilmore in the building. What up, Trav?
Like this is like I'm I focus with Dominique where Dominique at because I lost my son too. So like the hardest conversation I had with my son was him moving back with his mom. You see what I'm saying? No offense to the women, but I just felt like he was safer and he had that village when he was with the dad. Because
with
dad,
you,
with me.
Oh, okay.
With me,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody know me here in Greensboro.
Right.
They see my son.
Right.
They be like, "Hey, yo, I got your son
They
with
let
me
you know
right
what's going
now.
on, yeah.
He think he gonna be up there at the park somewhere, but I got him in the car. Or Ingram had him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Take a
your
village
son-
though. That's what we need.
So
That's right.
I'm not taking nothing away from the mom, but I just feel like, is when we step in and then that conversation and he moved back home, he didn't have that guidance like he had if he had been around the male and around my peers.
Right.
Because he see what I'm doing. I had the positive people around me.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when you stray off and then it's like you get lost and then it's nothing you can do because like y'all said, your kids gonna be kids. They're gonna do what they want to do behind your back because they're getting older. So I just feel like, back to the village. We just got to be stronger as men and women to come together and not be being upset with each other because we got a kid with each other and we got to come together. We got to work together.
It's better that way. I'm telling you, especially for our community.
Yeah, we got to.
I just don't understand that though. I don't understand. Right there for a minute. Yeah, I don't understand why. Baby, stay right there, Trav. I don't understand why. I don't even like saying baby father, baby mama, but the father and the mothers, it's always a beef in our community. Even with other cultures, it seems like they work together. But in our community, we can't stand each other for whatever reason.
Even after death, it's still beef.
It's still beef. You know what I'm saying?
And that's sad.
we were always pit against each other though.
Yeah,
we've been conditioned to do that and programmed to do that, and we can't forget that.
No, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have to be mindful that, we've always been, been programmed to kind of go against each other and almost every difference that we have.
Well, like he said, we talk about the village, but we need to find some way to kill that gap. Like we have to work together within the household.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And we just gotta tell each other we love each other. If we can start.
I don't love her. I ain't gotta love her.
No, I'm talking about the men. I'm talking about the men. The village.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For the men,
yeah.
we see. How we will. We got 1,000-some people on Facebook, friends on
right,
Facebook.
Right.
You definitely. In Walmart, they gonna walk past you with a mean face.
Yeah, but we friends on Facebook.
We friends on Facebook.
Right.
You
just hearted my post.
Yeah, you just hearted my post.
Like,
so
hey,
I just feel like if you can do it on Facebook, do it in real life.
That's it. Clap it up for that.
Just do it in real life.
It's
just that simple.
Yeah, that's real.
I'm out, y'all.
That's real. That real. Drop the mic.
I think
that's true. I like that.
I want to kind of chime in.
Go ahead.
For me, the most uncomfortable conversation that I've had with my kids has been sex. But the toughest conversation is being self-sufficient, because that's an ongoing thing. And then you have a person who is dependent on you in almost every way. And now you're trying to teach them to become independent. And it's tough. It's tough. It takes consistency. It takes
we was just throwing it out there though. We had to figure it out.
Yeah, but that's
and it worked though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like we jumped out there, and a lot of things that we should have gotten early, and it should have been a less painful, a lot less painful. It cost us more to learn the way that we had to learn. So now I'm trying to teach our kids now to be self-sufficient, what that looks like, how that works, how to be self-sufficient, but still understand that you need people and people are going to need you. You know what I'm saying? And things like that is always a tough conversation in today's time.
Right. We go to the comments, then we bring it up. Little man, we want to hear from the kids, y'all. Yeah. We want to hear from y'all. Y'all got to talk to us now. We got a couple of guys, a couple of young men, young kings in the building. So we want to hear from them. But go ahead with your comment.
So Wendy Armstrong, it's great to discuss with our kids that in all situations, please let us as parents know if they ever feel uncomfortable. If they ever feel that they are being treated unfairly as well, letting them know it's always good to tell us anything. Princess says boundaries are established from the crib. We see babies, but they are actually little humans. We have Malik. Everyone doesn't love their kids the same.
That's true.
Kind of true. Wendy says, I would say the conversation pertaining to decisions of who they choose call their friends. I, as the parent, can see things they don't see in the past that who they choose to be around can and will affect their lives.
Right.
Absolutely.
We got Erica. The hardest conversations is getting them to understand they are loved, they are important, being confident. Being confident within takes a lot of unnecessary mess that kids have to deal with. Teaching our daughters and sons that they are beautiful regardless of their body shape, hair type, style, and our young boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if you love to read, if you want to learn. Being unique is so much missing, so much put kids in the environment that is needed. May not always be what they want, but it's our jobs to put them in places and environments they need.
Right.
Facts.
Wendy says some kids think they know more than us as parents.
That's true. Most definitely. They think we the dumb ones. I done been your age before. You ain't been my age before. You know what I'm saying?
We have conditioning is definitely it. It is. We have, I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, but bridging the gaps comes with sacrifice, less judgment, less competition, more collaboration.
That's right.
Much more respect and genuine love.
Mm-hmm.
Malik, you know they love you. They love only your friend on Facebook to be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica Robinson, you got to be consistent, and that's a must.
Okay. Thank y'all for the comments. Keep it rolling in. Keep it rolling in. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of the hardest conversations I've had with my sons is how to be a man.
Mm-hmm. How to be a man?
There's so many single mothers. I'm not a single mother now, but that's one of the hardest conversations I've ever had with my boys is how to be a man. I can't tell you how to be a man. I can just tell you how to be the best you are. I just feel like there's not enough active fathers, and it doesn't have to be somebody who contributed to your DNA, but there's just not enough active fathers in boys' lives. They just need some more dads around.
Well, I thank you for that. I thank you for that.
Definitely appreciate
but
that.
I think the brothers making a comeback. I think fathers are doing an amazing job now. And that's not nothing towards what you say. I'm just speaking up because I just feel like fathers are doing their thing. I must just be around a lot of positive fathers and good fathers, but I see a lot of positive fathers out there and that's doing their thing. So shout out to the fathers. We ready to hear for the kids?
Yes, sir.
Come on up, man. Yeah. State your name for us.
Dante Donnell Jr.
That's right. Clap it up for him. That's Junior right there.
And I don't want to be here.
right.
Big DJ.
That's what's up.
Let me ask you a question, Junior. What is something, and of course you're speaking for yourself, but we want to hear from the kids today, the younger generation. What is one thing you feel like parents don't understand about the youth?
Like for school, like they don't understand that like it's stress and we have a lot of homework and a lot of classes, and like when we get home we gotta do chores and stuff. So I think that's what they should do.
That's what should we do? What you saying? Don't. It's too much work with school and the chores just make it more stressful.
We expect too much.
We expect.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you.
You got them chores every day.
Yeah. It's just teaching you responsibility. That's all. As you get older, you're gonna have more responsibilities. So let me ask you a question: If you got a lot of homework, you still make it to practice, whatever your sport or activity or extracurricular activity is. Does he play sports? Not really. Oh, okay, you're gonna be on that field this year. So if you got football practice, you still find time to make it to practice, right?
Yeah.
Or you will find time.
I will.
Right. And you still gonna make sure your grades straight, because if the grades ain't right, you can't play, right?
Yes.
So it's very important. So it's just like going to practice. When you have those chores, you're doing it to make your father proud, your mother proud, and it's your responsibility. So as a man, you have to handle your responsibility. So it's not too hard. You just got to find balance. You know what I'm saying? Try to figure it out a system that works for you, I would say. Got anything?
Yeah, and you'll understand later. You got a great father. You know your father for over 25 years. You have a great father. With privilege comes responsibility.
Most definitely.
Education is a privilege. Your responsibility is your homework. Playing sports is a privilege. Your responsibility is to, keep your grades up, keep your physical up. Allowance is a privilege. You got to do your chores, and you'll understand later, trust me. But you're on the right direction, though. You're on the right path.
Yeah, most definitely.
We appreciate you sharing that, brother.
You ain't had nothing for him?
Man, y'all, you listen. Y'all took care of the village, got them straight. The village got them straight. Dad, you want to say something? All right.
I guess one tough conversation, and I kind of heard it echo throughout most of our tough conversations, is a conversation of tough love, and what does tough love look like? Of course, I'd say oftentimes from a child's perspective, it looks like you don't care about me. You making life hard and not understanding the lessons behind it. But I would say as a parent and as a therapist, it's necessary to bring a stronger generation of youth. We come from a generation where it seems like most of us weren't blessed with the most finest things. So we create a weaker generation by providing for them so easily to the point that they think and they often see it as something easy to get. And when you have to pull back and make it more of a challenge for them to get it, it seems like they misunderstand the struggle and in obtaining the simplest things.
Right.
Quick question. Could tough love be a cover-up for abusive parenting?
No, I disagree.
Absolutely not.
I disagree.
What would be the difference in your opinion?
Tough love for me, tough love is just I want to allow it's me setting boundaries to not allow. So say for instance, I'm gonna give you this. Like if my child want to do something, but I feel like it's okay for them to do it, but say maybe they didn't do their homework or they did something wrong. So the punishment is no, this is not where you're not going here no more, right? I'm just keeping it simple and making a simple example. But I really want them to go, and they've been waiting to go here, whatever, but I had to cut it off. That's tough love for me, because it's tough for me, but I love you that much. I have to teach you this, and you my responsibility. So I have to use this as a lesson to teach you where you made the mistakes at. So for me, that's tough love. I don't feel like that's abusive, but that's just the way I look at it from my point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, tough love is just you ain't gonna do what you want to do. Ain't no reconciliation, ain't no common ground. Once again, I'm the overseer. I can see what you don't see. Kids don't see danger.
Right.
So tough love, I don't care how they look at it. It's for your own good. I don't think it's enough tough love.
Right.
I'll wrap it up real quick. I guess the abuse side is causing harm. Tough love, in my opinion, is teaching a valuable life lesson. To draw that line. So if it's abuse is done without love and without some intent to help form a stronger child, when you're abusing, you're doing something, abusing or neglect. You neglect that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. If you're abusing, you're causing harm. And that right there would draw the difference. If you ask yourself, what is my intention on it? Is it pure, or is it to make sure I cause harm to the child?
Right. And I think that's where you're going. If I just whoop you for my gratification, that's tough love. I think that's what you're saying.
That's
abusive
abuse.
love. Yeah, that's abusive. That's what you're saying, huh, G? Or give me an example of what
No. So first, it's
give
no
me an
right or
example
wrong.
of abusive.
So there have been some people who have locked their kids in closets and did things like that and said this is tough love. This is tough love.
Black people,
but
that's abuse.
Bro,
oh,
you'd be surprised.
I don't know that world.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why when we throwing out certain phrases like tough love and we don't have any, like we haven't defined what that is. Then you know what I'm saying. Like somebody else could be
love,
doing
right?
some harmful things and hiding behind tough love.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
abuse. That's abuse.
Yeah. What's up, brother?
So
State your name, brother.
my name is Corey D. McCann, president.
Sound like you about to testify.
Give it all honor and glory. Nah, but so I want to speak to what Mr. Donnell Jr. said, and I do say this respectfully to the panel, but subsequently I understand what he's saying, and I understand what you all are saying. So I want to think objectively on this. So all four of you have basically agreed to the dynamic of, as what we like to call, tough love.
Wait a minute.
Those ground
Don't
rules.
throw me in with them. Don't throw me in with them.
Okay,
I didn't even.
Okay, well, let me rebuttal. A vast majority of the populace has stated.
There you go.
Has stated the dynamic of.
Excuse me. That's a prime example about being guilty by association.
Right.
Prime example.
Most definitely.
Right there.
That went over their head. I don't even
Right
think
there.
they called it.
So okay, so a vast majority of the panel and even people within the audience have agreed to the dynamic of giving the example of being able to be a student athlete, playing sports, the importance of doing your chores and doing your work when you come home. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we still, as parents, have a responsibility to cater to that mental part. We can't just simply, and again, I say this with respect. That's my small rebuttal.
Right.
So I think it would behoove us as parents not to ignore that, because just because we came up in a certain genre of era where we were scholar athletes and we had to go to study hall and maintain a certain GPA and stuff like that, it doesn't take away from the fabric that their mental is being tested. I was a collegiate athlete, right? And in study hall, we had therapists on the team. Why do you think they have therapists on the collegiate atmosphere? Your team therapist is not telling you, well, you got to maintain a certain GPA and play sports and get a certain amount of hours. So just deal with it, because that comes responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Or because you have a certain privilege, you're delegated a certain responsibility.
Right.
No, you got to cater to that mental part too. So while I understand the fabric of responsibility and understand that as they get older, they're going to have that, let's not ignore that mental part. Because it is different for us now. You know, when you and I were coming up, we just had algebra, geometry, and algebra 2.
Right.
These kids got calculus, pre-cal, trigonometry, and everything.
All that stuff they're not going to use when they graduate.
But they still have it as part of their curriculum.
Responsibility. Yeah, it's still part of the curriculum.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say, while we establish that nuance of responsibility, let's also keep that same energy with catering to the mental part too. Because what he's saying, it's important.
Yeah, not just look past it like, man, just do this. What you think about do as I say, not as I do then, since you're talking about that?
Yeah, say it again.
What you think about the saying, do as I say, not as I do?
Me personally? Oh, no, that don't work. Because they're going to always go off what you do.
Right.
They're going to always do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a question for you, since we're speaking on it, brother.
Y'all said 20 seconds.
I know, right?
You went about 30.
You really did.
You right.
Now you ready to sit down.
Let's go.
But no, seriously. How do we have conversations about mental toughness, but still try not to make our kids feel bad about their mental state, but still have a conversation about mental toughness? Because I know for us coming up, and it's definitely a different society, but I know for us, mental toughness was a big thing and it was helpful. And I understand that they're going through a lot, these days, but how do we balance that? Like, I hear you, I feel you, I understand what you're going through, I understand where you're at, but how do we increase the mental muscle and mental toughness so they're able to deal with some of these things that they're currently going through and will go through in their near future? How do we balance that? How do we have that conversation?
Let me say this before you respond, because I feel like they going through some things that we ain't went through before.
Facts.
Yeah, but I agree, but we also went
through some things. You feel me?
Yeah, but we also went
through
I'm not
some
taking
things
away
that
from
they're not going to go through. I just wanted
through.
to say that just to put it out there.
Yeah,
but they going through some stuff we ain't never seen.
My son is not going through a single, not having a father care about him type of situation. Like, you want to talk about going through some stuff. Now, imagine your dad getting out of prison, you know what I'm saying? Taking care of his wife, kids, but not his own.
Yeah. Those are challenging, but they don't understand that.
No,
if they're not seeing it.
What I'm saying, bro, what I'm saying is we all have gone through some things.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is I feel like during our times of being raised, and I understand things are different,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm asking the question.
Right.
But I know that we were conditioned to be mentally tough when addressing things or facing things or dealing with things in general.
Right.
Now I see a generation that appears to be weak according to my standards and how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean they're weak, but if I'm basing things off of how I grew up and how I was raised and how I actually handle things, and then I see how kids are handling things now,
mm-hmm.
it's I don't like the word weak, but it's different.
Right, most definitely.
It's different. And so how do we start getting them to be mentally tough, but at the same time we recognize what they're going through and we try to, address what they're going through and build them up.
Okay, Dr. Blackman. So for me, it's two answers for that. One, we got to utilize our resources.
Mm-hmm.
We got good brothers like him. We got good brothers like Travis, Will, Dominique. We have an actual therapist right here. When I were coming up, the nuance of therapy, that wasn't a discussion. It was taboo.
It wasn't even around.
Mental health was a taboo.
Yeah.
So we got to utilize our resources. The second part to your question, Dr. Blackman, is we got to kill this paradigm of hypermasculinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of football coaches, for
Right.
example, in Winston-Salem, they try to live vicariously through their boys on the football field, trying to tell them to be tough, blase, and dog, you didn't even play, like you sat the bench. But you know what I'm saying? But anyway, like that's
you out here
story.
throwing your weight around.
Bro, I know you,
yeah.
bro. Like you didn't start. Like I know you.
Yeah.
But anyway, reeling it back in, that hypermasculinity is killing our children. You know what I'm saying? Because granted, we could talk about the eras that we came up in, but we're also not talking about those traumas that were consequently caused as well.
Yeah.
So we could talk about how mentally tough we became, but we're not talking about the traumas we had to deal with too.
Right.
So utilize your resources, and we
Yes,
got to
sir.
kill the stigma of I
Man,
like that.
go ahead. Now I got to push
I like
back on
that.
you on that one. Hypermasculinity, I feel like has its place. I feel like I feel like anything that's overdone can be a problem.
I do agree with that.
Too much
I do
anything
agree
is
with
too
that.
much.
Yeah,
I do agree with that.
yeah. I can appreciate the alpha male. I can appreciate the abundance of masculinity.
Mhm.
And not to be funny, but now I see a lot of women being extremely masculine. You
To
know,
their children or just in general?
no.
Yep,
I'm saying
yep.
now. I mean, I'm just saying I see a lot of women being extremely masculine, and I see women attracted to that in other women, but have a problem with it when men are over, have an abundance of masculinity.
Can't argue that.
And so I appreciate my masculine brothers, the masculine energy. I just think that we have to be mindful of the way we treat people and the way that we handle things, even though we're extremely masculine. I still have to be understanding if my son isn't, and he doesn't have to be me, but allow me to be me.
Right.
If I'm masculine and you're not, I'm okay with you not being masculine, but be okay with me being masculine. You know what I'm saying? And so I think what happens is it's a culture coming in that's trying to get the masculine brothers to tone down their masculinity. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we need to tone it down. We just need to be responsible with it and not be abusive with it.
I can see that.
Yes,
That
sir.
makes sense.
Yes, sir.
That's just like gun law. Like,
Can I sit down?
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, respond. Oh, you didn't want to respond? You good? I want Dominique to touch on it.
Real quick, back to Gene. You started the question and you asked him, and I forgot what it was, but I remember my response.
Me too.
That Gene asked him.
Yeah.
He was saying that the hypermasculinity.
Part of the answer in what I wanted to say, I forgot the question, but setting expectations and evaluating those expectations routinely can shift the court from, okay, what's the question? Oh, I should have wrote it down. You gave me the marker. But the point was setting expectations. If you don't have any expectations as a parent and you're only just throwing out what you want done and not evaluating to see where that child meets, and do you need to go down, or are you being too harsh? Do you need to tone your voice down? Are you setting too many chores per day? Maybe you need to break it down to per day or per week. Without some level of evaluation, based on the question, it seems like that would be the an effective strategy to trying to, whatever the question was. It was something. It was the point that you
Go ahead,
made
Liz.
on evaluating.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
was listening to you talk, but I lost it.
I'm sorry, bro.
Well, yeah, y'all said everything in a nutshell. I can't do nothing but say everything y'all just said.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
most
I
part.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
On both
For sure.
outputs. So,
For sure.
As a manager, when your child gets to working age, what conversations do you have with your child going into
The workplace.
the workplace and work environment?
hold yourself accordingly. You're in a work environment. My dad always told me to let your work speak for itself. And at the same time, be productive, be reliable, be responsible, show integrity for yourself as well as your company. And that'll grow. So
Most
that's how I
definitely.
look at it.
Yeah. Accountability, time management. Just know the intent. Presentation is everything. You know what I'm saying? When you go out in public, if you go into the workplace, present yourself properly. You know what I'm saying? You're a walking billboard. So most definitely, the way you present yourself, the way you carry yourself, and like Dominique said, being responsible. When you sign up for something, you know what you're signing on to. So don't apply for a job, and once you get the job, start slacking off or being late or not taking it serious. Especially with kids, because that certain kids now, I take that back. Certain kids serious about their money. When they get a job, they appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But you have them ones that that ain't their thing. They friends not working, so they feel like Dominique said earlier, they're attracted to the neglect or people that's not really doing what they should be doing. That's attractive to a younger child that doesn't know themselves, that's still trying to find themselves, and they just going with what the flow is or what the environment is. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely would say presentation and responsibility. How about you, G?
Why are you going to work for that man? Building his business and his dreams.
There you go. Power to the
And
people.
your talents
and
gifts were for you and your dreams and your. But no, I really do try to have an entrepreneurial conversation with my kids on a regular basis, and it's no knock to anyone that works for a company or business or other people. It's definitely no knock at all. But if we're talking about a conversation that I would have, it'll be talking about entrepreneurship. If he's going to work at a job, number one, be respectful, treat people in the way that you would want to be treated if you're in whatever situation. Treat people like you would want to be treated. And then the other thing is, son, are you using this job to position yourself to take care of you, to make sure you're good? Because, let it be a stepping stone, son. Let it be a stepping stone, young lady. That's what I would tell my son and daughter. Like, let this be a stepping stone. But how are you going to position yourself so that your talents benefit you and your family?
Most definitely. You know what's crazy? I teach my kids to, even if they go into a job, it's still you or your own business. You still got to get up. You still got to handle the responsibility that you took on. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like, this your money. You don't go to work, you don't eat. If you can't work for somebody else, how can you hire somebody to work for you? It's more so like the saying, like, if you don't know how to follow, how can you lead? You know what I'm saying? They say that on the spiritual side a lot. So I teach my kids like it's a business. Like, this your business right now. Just like your grades, you got to go to work and make your money. This is your business right now. If you don't go to work, your business don't make no money. You know what I'm saying? So from that angle, to kind of give them, like Jane's saying, that entrepreneurial spirit. Like, okay, let me pay attention to why the manager doing this. Let me see, okay, I'm bringing this up. Learn it as a skill, as a trade. Don't just learn it because that's what you signed up for. Now, once you learn how to run a register, you got that under your belt. So if you want to sell lemonade and tea on the weekend, then you can run the register. You know how to count money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's so many things you could pick up by having a job. That's why I put them in that entrepreneurial mindset that working at a job is really your business, technically. So yeah.
Just like both of these brothers mentioned, I think one step even before that is like my son mentioned, those chores at home. That's the first job, and helping him understand the way that you clean up your room, the way that you mop the floor, the way that you do the dishes here. Do you feel that you're going to be able to effectively do your job when you're getting paid for it? If you don't do that job well enough, you're not even going to get that paycheck for not completing the job. So let's master that skill at home. But even more than that, if you can master it at home, like Will said, if you can sweep, maybe we need to, if you do that well enough, let's get you a janitorial business that we need to be working
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm saying. If you like that, if you start off cutting grass at a young age, or some people did, but if you learn something, just pick it up and keep it under your belt, especially these days, because you can make money off anything that you gifted or talent in, or just learned as a skill or trade.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry.
No, right.
My question, and not to justify, because what the lady did that we spoke about earlier, there's no justification. But as a manager that deals with teenagers on the regular, how would you expect for an adult in management to handle your child that decides that they're grown when they're outside your presence, but then when spoken to or corrected, then they want to be a child and they want to call the parent?
I would expect them to notify me.
Notify the parent. That's
what my child is doing, so I can handle them.
Yeah, it's not their responsibility.
Yeah.
They got policies and
Yeah.
procedures, but it ain't their responsibility. My child ain't their responsibility, even though they are their responsibility. You get what I'm saying? Like Gene said, contact me if it's out of hand. Don't take it. I don't feel like that lady taking action in her own hand. And I'm not saying, I'm not bringing it up to say her, but I'm just saying if it wasn't to that extent, that my daughter or son said some disrespectful stuff back or something. You know what I mean? Before you snap back, I feel like as a person of authority, as the adult, as in a responsible position, contact the parent first. You know what I'm saying? Go to the parent, not the child. That's what I was taught at a young age, as being a parent. You know what I mean? So yeah.
What if the parent isn't available at the moment with the situation as it occurs?
I'm gonna let the therapist handle it.
For
Are you
example,
talking about workforce?
yes. So what
In
I'm
the
saying, okay,
workforce?
so
in the workplace,
right?
That's
So
different.
say I'm the manager, and your child comes smelling high to work every day.
Oh,
and
got
I
you.
sit there and say, well, you.
Yeah, see, I thought you were just saying in
she's talking about
general,
the
like the
workforce.
situation
Yeah.
earlier. I thought you were saying
Yeah,
that.
no, like, so your child comes to work high every day, pants low, and then when they come in, I sit there and say, can you pull your pants up, or can you go spray your shirt, or you know what, I'm finna send you home because that smell is not
That'll be the
allowed
thing
here.
I would expect.
Right.
Just send them home.
Right.
Because
But then your
you in a
child-
professional world now.
But
so.
then you get your child to say, well, I smoke with my parents. Or when you say, look, we're not gonna cuss in here. Because like this is the thing. This is
Yeah, it
real
goes
life.
on. It goes
When
on.
when you're asking them to stop cussing, and they be like, and I'll be like, well, I'm finna call your mom. Go ahead, because I cuss in front of my mom or my dad. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm asking how are we supposed to handle a situation, right? Where the child becomes belligerent or it's a problem, and then you're calling the parent doesn't answer.
If they cannot adjust to a professional work atmosphere, then you should let them go.
Yeah. Because it should be protocol in the workplace for that. You know, if you can't contact the parent, like I said earlier, you should just let them go. Well, get off my clock. As the manager, that you have that right. Before you go be disrespectful back, put your hands on. Well, you know, it can escalate. You know, these days it get crazy and it's gonna go viral. So don't do that. But I'm just saying, it should be protocol in place for that. Just let the child go, or you know, like Gene said, fire him or whatever. But
Right, but the issue literally is when the parent comes. I've never let go of a child. Just they F word. I said let's learn a new word. Fired. You won't listen. I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going 15,
yeah, you talking
16,
about young,
17.
at least 15,
So
16.
the new word was fired for me.
You're not built for this. You can work somewhere, maybe in construction.
Yeah, it's just not
But
here.
you don't need to be.
You
here.
did the right thing.
Though. When they got off the clock and the parent didn't answer for me, they answered for their child, right? And instead of the parent trying to figure out, well, what did you do to get fired? They want to come and now have this whole.
That's an easy conversation.
Why is it a conversation?
No, I'm asking, what conversation do you have with? It shouldn't even go that far, because at the end of the day, I think that children need to be taught their place in the workforce and how to come to work, how to handle yourself.
Absolutely.
Most of them don't, because again, like I'm saying, I smoke weed with my parents smoke weed in the car with me. We smoking weed. So it's the norm for me. It's the norm to wear my pants down where people can see my butt, because my parents allow me to do it. It's the norm. That's why I'm asking, like, what conversations do you draw the line where when they enter the workforce, they know they walking in a different way than, I guess, their norm was usual?
That's the parent's fault. If he conducting himself, he or she conducting himself like that, that's the parent's fault. So you gotta hold yourself accountable. They gotta hold yourself accountable for that.
Absolutely.
Before we go, with understanding that dynamic, I think as responsible adults, for any child that gets a job, the termination letter should be the conversation. It would only be most parents who, if they don't have the ability to understand their child, they came into work. If they question, and they probably brought them into work, I'm assuming, seeing and smelling how they did, it shouldn't be that much of a conversation other than the termination letter, other than having some type of conflict. If they can question why you possibly fired the child, to my understanding, it seems like you're going to possibly run into some conflicts with even trying to dialogue with them on that justification. I think the determination slip should speak for itself.
All right, we have one comment. As a manager, your conflict resolution skills must tap in, not in a rude way, but professionally. Tasha says they need to understand authority. Also, tone makes a difference in the approach and discipline. Chase, she says, send them home. He said, send them home. Do not even argue. Better yet, terminate them.
Right.
And then we have Chase, be professional. Do not even waste your time arguing with the child or the parent. Majority of parents know how their kids are at home and when they leave. Chase, why even hire them? How did they make it past the interview? And Malik says we need to change our mindset as Black people. We should now be thinking of working for ourselves first, especially if we are in a close-knit family. And then we have Neziah. Usually when you have one clown without an audience, they usually will terminate themselves.
That's right. That's right. Thank y'all for those comments. Thank y'all for those comments. That was super dope. Super dope. Super dope.
In fact.
So as we come to an end of this episode, we thank everybody for tuning in. Any last remarks from the audience before we move forward? Okay, Mama, finally. Give it up for Mama Davis, y'all. Yes, sir.
Mama.
20 seconds. It was just something the young man said, and I know kids have chores and, they're growing up. Certain things have to be applied. But there was one specific word he said was stress. Kid stress is real.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Another word, you said evaluation, you said trauma. Ashley just had something she showed me that says being an influencer does not mean intimidation. So just a few last words. Talk to the children. Right. Ask them, baby, are you stressed? I know you go to school. I know certain things you must do. Certain things must apply to your life in growing up, but it is really going to be valuable so they don't have trauma. So you evaluating, again, he said that, stress. Yeah. And sometimes we as parents can just, we sail through parenthood, and we don't stop to sit down and say, is anything bothering you? Are you overwhelmed?
Right.
Is this stressing you?
Right.
Is there something that we need to talk about? How do you feel? But we're still in a parent's place. We're still influencing. And, sometimes this is how it's brought up. But see, I'm old. Things are changing, though. Being an influencer in parenting in the village, it doesn't mean being an intimidator.
That's right.
So let's talk to these children.
That's right. Talk to them children.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That was well said as well.
Absolutely.
So there's a little. That's right. That's right. That's what's up. So I'm gonna go to the therapist on this one. Any last words to wrap it up with?
She pretty much wrapped it up. I only really want to go after that. Only thing I would say is wrap it up by understanding what the stress look like to your child. For we use that word so loosely that we don't understand what that may look like, and it can look different from one child to the next. We all have stress, but we deal with it, and it manifests with each of us differently. But evaluating your child, assessing them, and seeing what does stress look like. That's your homework assignment.
Right. That's the therapist talking. Give it up for the therapist, dog. Most definitely, most definitely. So I hope this was very informal, educational for the parents out there, for people in the community, for the village. We have to come together as a village like we once were. We have to support one another. We have to stand in the gaps for one another. So I hope this information was of some value to you. We appreciate everybody that shared their comments. We thank you for the comments in the online as well. We thank y'all for tuning in and supporting us. Thank you to everybody. Clap it up for yourselves. Thank y'all that's viewing this. We appreciate y'all. This takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of doing. When we came up with this idea and kind of broadcast, and when we started broadcasting the show. So I definitely want to thank my brothers, Gene Blackman, Dominique Davis, Liz, Ash, Donzel, Dante, Daniel, and everybody else that's involved. Melvin, what's up, Melvin? I want to thank everybody, because if it weren't for everybody, the whole team, it wouldn't be possible. So we definitely thank everybody in the audience. Appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna ask the panel any last words before we wrap it up.
Conversations that matter. The thing with me, it takes more than just feeding your kid, making sure he's bathing, sending him to bed. It takes more than that's probably a fraction of raising your kid. Like Mama said, you got to talk to him. Childhood stress is one of the biggest stress. We grew up and people kind of sail through parenthood. Not my parents, but it's not such thing as a perfect parent. So we're all assimilating and learning together. One quick story, real quick. It's the phones too, man. I know a guy that has his kid. Great father. Son is always in his room. So my son ain't outside, but guess what? Your son in Chicago on that phone though. So we have to monitor and be more I say aggressive for parents, because we ain't, I'm not your brother. Brothers fight, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not reconciling, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about it. So like Mama said, it's just all about putting things in front and addressing them. That's it.
Dope. Thank you.
I think for me, conversations are important. I think the hard part as a parent is the deep listening portion of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And I constantly try to remind myself of that, because we don't know everything. And sometimes you don't know how to help if you don't know where they're at, where they're truly at. Yes. So it takes deep listening when you have these conversations. It's not me just enforcing my thoughts and opinions on my kids. I want to hear from you as well, right? So that I know how to help you. So that's one of those things I think that we have to constantly do as parents. We have to exercise deep listening, so that we can really know how to have decent conversations with our kids, productive conversations and effective conversations with our kids.
Most definitely. That was well said. And that's what I took from Little Man too, was that, it's stressful, but I don't feel like they're being heard. So that's a good point. We have to learn how to listen. It's not just our way or no way.
Sometimes they just not talking to us now.
That boy right there. But it starts with us, I feel like.
Well, what?
You know why I say that? Let me explain
I'm
why
the coolest. I'm the coolest dad. he will ever have.
Oh, I'm not saying your personal situation. I get what you're
I'm
saying.
the coolest dad.
That's something between
he will
y'all.
ever
That's your
have.
personal situation. Yeah. Now, see, you think you cool.
Why wouldn't
He
you
said,
want to talk to
you
me
ain't cool
about
enough.
everything?
And that's the thing. We be thinking we cool. We got it together. We got the money. They looking at us like, Daddy, no. Yeah, like this ain't fly, son. You like this ain't fly, son? Nah, this ain't it. We on two different levels. I feel like. Yeah. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Come on, say a few words for the kids before we wrap it up. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. Am I right or wrong?
You right.
Word.
Oh, the wardrobe. He still gonna hate that. Yeah, that's what I be saying. But why do you say that? What us as parents, and I'm gonna wrap it up after this, but us as parents, we think we got everything together, everything going on. But why do you feel like it's not necessarily like y'all rebel, but what's the disconnect there when it comes to parents first not listening, but thinking we got it all together and thinking we leading properly, but y'all feel like, nah, that ain't it. What is it?
Well, my dad, he act like he all that because like he got hats and stuff.
Dang, so it's not just my son hating on me. Okay, you getting it too?
You get to write it down. You got to take notes.
Your dad is
take mental
all
notes.
that.
Watch the episode again. But what else is it as far as the disconnect?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Well, he was listening to Jay-Z in the car.
Well, that's classic. That's classic. You don't understand that though, do you?
Who you like?
Who requested Jay-Z?
Well, I asked you to put it back on.
I did. So it is working. It is working. That's a good one. We appreciate you, young man. We appreciate
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
We definitely
Give it
appreciate
up
you,
for
bro.
him, y'all.
Is there anything else you want to say? You look like you had
Good
something else to say. You want to say something else, don't you?
I know.
Okay, cool. We appreciate you, man.
Good. We thank you.
Yeah.
So always remember everything that we talked about tonight. I hope y'all took down notes. Y'all can go back and watch it. Get all the gems and information and education that was dropped tonight. It was some good information dropped out here on this episode tonight. So great information. So go back and watch it and take some notes. But we hope this was helpful for your household, for you as a parent, for you as a person, for our community. And we thank you for tuning in. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm your man, William Hussey 365.
Gene Blackman.
Nico, Dominique Davis.
Dante Donnell. Thank you.
That's right. And together we are Conversations That Matter. Thank y'all for tuning in every Sunday at 7 p.m. Check us out, baby. And just like that, we out, baby.
Break every chain.